Okay, for the viewers and for my fans, this is kind of a different viewpoint from what other interviewees have shared. Actually, I think this is because she came in with a different visa, like for different purpose. Yes, so the purpose was different from those of whom I have interviewed previously. But then it's still nice to know the both sides. Hello, viewers and fans. Welcome to watch today's episode of Emilight Show. And join me to welcome my special guest for today's discussion, Mrs. Kate Griffin. Hi, Kate.
Hello.
Welcome to Emilight Show.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Can you please start by giving us a quick intro of yourself?
Sure. Okay. So my name's Kate. I am American. I moved to Finland about 2 years ago, and I moved with my husband. So given the nature of the show, it might be interesting. Like I don't actually work here. I moved here as part of like a spousal visa situation. Okay. Yeah. I have 2 children. When we moved, they were 1 and 3 years old. They're now 3 and 4 years old. Okay. And my background is I have a PhD in education and I study human development. Okay. And I've lived all over the U.S. and in Germany and in Spain.
Okay. Wow. Thank you for the introduction. So in Emilight Show, we interview immigrants to understand the challenges that immigrants face in Finland and also to gather information through suggestions from immigrants on how to overcome these challenges. So we would be happy to hear from you today. Yeah, let's begin with the first question. Based on your experiences and on the experiences of other immigrants that you have interacted with, what would you say are the most common challenges that immigrants face in Finland?
So I'm pretty sensitive to the fact that I'm a very particular kind of immigrant here, right? Yeah. Like I'm not here for the long term. I'm also not working. So I really think my comments should be understood in that context. Yeah. Particularly, I've dealt a lot with parenting challenges here. Okay. I think when I first moved here, I'd heard that Finland has amazing education. Yeah. So I knew it was supposed to be really good, but I didn't know a lot about the details of it. Okay. In fact, I basically knew nothing. Yeah. And when we moved, I think like a lot of immigrant experiences, we faced things like having to work out the visa situation, get our personal identity numbers took forever to get. That's a thing of a spousal visa, is you actually aren't prioritized. So it took like 2.5 months, I think, which meant my husband had to sign up. Okay. Like my phone isn't in my own name because I couldn't sign up for a phone, like a long-term contract. You can get like the shorter-term ones. Yeah. So those were kind of common challenges that I faced. Okay. And then I think like most people, anything that comes to you in Finnish, I don't speak Finnish. Yes. I find Finnish really challenging. I'm not a good linguist to begin with, but I have learned other languages over the course of my life. Okay. And just as a full-time mom, finding time to devote to Finnish. Okay. But that's something certainly through networking I've learned a lot more about, but that took a long time. When I first got here, I was like, how does anyone do this? Yeah. And there's a lot to learn, and I think there's a lot of like network building to do to gain that kind of information. Yes.
Okay, so talking about the challenges with parenting. Yeah. What kind of challenges especially did you face and with the education of your kids?
I think when we moved here, so you have to imagine this was during the pandemic. Yeah. My daughter, until the day we moved, given the restrictions where we lived, and children in the US had to mask at a very young age, my daughter had literally never gone into a supermarket before. So I think they lived a very sheltered life. Yeah. Especially Rosie, who was born during the pandemic, or right before it. Yeah. So I didn't know much, and when we got here, I think integration was really important to us. We knew we'd be here long enough that my son might even enter formal schooling here, and so acquiring Finnish, even though I didn't have Finnish, was a priority for us. Yeah. But again, this is where like kind of accidental networking came into play. Yeah. So the first person to teach me about education here was a teacher at our local Asukas Puesto. Okay. But it's not because I knew what an Asukas Puesto was or even how to say that word. It took me like a year to learn how to say that word. Yeah. So it's a residence club, right? It's like this little club, and they usually have a playground attached in a lot of the communities, certainly in the gosh, what's the word? In like the Helsinki Espoo area, right? Like most neighborhoods. That's it. Well, you speak Finnish, and I do, and I do not. So anyways, so I was literally on the playground with my kids, and this teacher came up to me and asked how old my son was, and I told her, and she said that the local Kerho program, so this is a program where most families have like one stay-at-home parent at least, and then it's for like 2 and 3 year olds. You go a few mornings a week. I never heard about it, and it wouldn't have been without that teacher reaching out, asking how old my child was, bringing us to the Xoxo, and then because I didn't have online banking credentials, figuring out a way to sign me up over paper, which actually it was like I was asked. It's like I was from the Stone Age. They were like, "You don't have online banking credentials," and I was like, "No, I do not. I don't know." And it would take another year for me to acquire those because of lots of problems. But this teacher being a really good advocate and being like, well, let me tell you about this. Your son should be here. And that was like our first step into Finnish education. And I would say that little Asukaspaisto, that little residence park club, is still to me to this day like one of my biggest recommendations. If you are a parent of very young children in Finland.
You've lived in Spain and Germany. Okay, this means you have more experience interacting with immigrants from different countries. Okay, so based on this experience, can you give a quick comparison of immigrant challenges between Finland and this country?
Again, I have to speak to. I'm trying to just like, I don't want to overextend because I've never moved anywhere with the intention of fully integrating, right? So like I've moved for a year here, a year there. Comparatively speaking, I would say there are some real pluses here as an English speaker from an English speaking country. So in Finland, it is a joy that I can submit paperwork in English. I just think about, especially when I moved to Germany, the number of translation fees I had to get for everything. And like it was so intense. That was really hard. I think similar to Germany, things are pretty straightforward here in terms of like, here is the website, these are the rules, you upload your stuff, and away you go. Spain, I did not feel that way. Now, this was many years ago, and I was also much younger, so I probably was missing some. Here, I mean, I would say one of the bigger challenges that I faced as a non-European immigrant was that like I didn't have these online banking credentials that everyone has, and so I couldn't do things like I couldn't make appointments for my children to go to the doctor. I couldn't, I could over the phone, but hardly anyone uses that system anymore. I remember when I didn't even know about Kela really, and I had to like go meet with them in person because I couldn't use their online system.
That's true.
But I don't think that's so much a Finnish problem as it is like just saying like I bet Spain has some more advances now that they didn't have when I lived there. Generally speaking, what I found is like here in Finland, I can get pretty confused about topics really quickly, be it because part of the website is in English, but then you click on a link and suddenly everything's in Finnish and you're holding up your phone and you're like, is Google really giving me what I need?
Thank you so much, Kate.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
It was lovely having you in the show. We say thank you once more. Okay, for the viewers and for my fans, you have had the experiences of Kate. In fact, this is kind of a different viewpoint from what other interviewees have shared. Actually, I think this is because she came in with a different visa, like for different purpose. Yes, so the purpose was different from those of whom I have interviewed previously. But then it's still nice to know the both sides. All right, viewers, to wrap up this discussion, I would like to say that thank you so much for your continuous support to Emilight channel. And I want to also say, stick with me on this course of understanding the challenges that immigrants face in Finland, and also to gather information on how we can overcome these challenges. So stay tuned for more updates on Emilight Show, and don't forget clicking the like button because it's very important for the growth of Emilight channel. Until next week, stay blessed.